Hi, this is Abigail Joy with IM Marketing. I have Hugh Madden here. So Hugh is a financial markets and security professional. He is a serial entrepreneur, co-founder of ANX International, and serves as the CTO and much more. Hugh, tell us more about ANX International.
Sure, okay, so ANX is kind of a group of companies these days. We're one of Asia's largest blockchain companies. We started out as a retail cryptocurrency exchange, ANX Pro, which still exists to this day, hasn't lost any customer funds, so kind of a trusted brand. But we've also got Octagon Strategy, which is Asia's largest OTC and blocks desk, and probably about number 5 in the world. This is doing between 100,000 US to $20 million trades at a time, used by all the large industry players. We've also got a white label business where all of our exchange technology we white label out to other cryptocurrency exchanges, and also many ICOs who are now starting to be quite legally conservative and use our platform for KYC and AML. And finally, we launched a token sale recently for a non-profit called ANX, which is building decentralized exchanges bridged with traditional banking to try and remove some systemic risks from the market. So quite a lot of things. We've got 100 staff in Hong Kong, very busy. Actually, on the topic of Hong Kong, around the world, a lot of people don't realize this, but Hong Kong is actually a separate legal jurisdiction to China. So we often get emails from concerned customers wondering if we're impacted by legal changes in China, but we're actually a standalone legal system in Hong Kong.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting. So you guys have a lot going on. I was wondering, when was the first time that you got involved in cryptocurrency?
About 5 years ago. I was working as a global FX architect for HSBC, overseeing all of the FX trading architecture for 48 countries. But started to read about Bitcoin, and more for moral reasons than anything, I really started to like the philosophical aspects of Bitcoin, and certainly as a technologist like cryptocurrency technology. And so I left investment banking, and I've been focused in blockchain technology ever since.
Awesome. So what do you think of Jamie Dimon's comment calling Bitcoin a fraud?
Yeah, so this is that perspective comes from typically an older generation who don't normally attribute any value to a network effect. Okay. So what I mean by that is, when I was a much younger man and I was going to travel, if I was going to some new country, what I would do is I'd look at my government's travel bulletins. Is there any warnings? Is it safe? And I'd use that as my source of information. Yeah. That sounds crazy now. Who on earth would go and check their government travel bulletin? Right. People these days go to TripAdvisor. and what do hundreds of thousands of random internet denizens say about where you're going? And in fact, I trust them. Everyone trusts them. That is an example of where the network effect from random peers on the internet actually has a really significant amount of value. Cryptocurrency has exactly the same thing. So you've got an enormous network of peers who all follow the same consensus rules, and that network has real, tangible value. Now that value is not something that the older generation typically get their heads around and understand, and I would put our friend Jamie Dimon in exactly that category.
Yes, I totally agree with everything you said. So explain Ethereum to someone who's only familiar with Bitcoin.
Sure, okay, so I think when people think about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, where it started from was really secure title transfer. So you happen to own an asset, and you can transfer that asset to someone else in a secure and trustless way. So it's really just a simple transfer of value, and that's what most of cryptocurrency started out doing, even though Satoshi had a vision for more complicated scripts. Now, Vitalik, of course, when he invented Ethereum, he had the view that that peers should be able to collaborate around a blockchain, but have consensus on more than just value transfer, such as a series of steps. If this is the way you should treat a financial instrument, this is the way you should calculate interest rates, you should be able to have some general purpose problem that you can encode and then all share consensus. So basically Ethereum is for consensus on behavior as well as value transfer, which is basically Bitcoin.
Okay, great explanation. So in your opinion, what is the most proficient aspect of the blockchain?
Most proficient aspect of the blockchain. So that's a very good one. For me, it's the low-cost way of assembling an ecosystem. And if you think about we're going through a very similar journey now with public cryptocurrency as the internet did back in the 90s. Okay, so the blockchains are amazing at allowing commerce to take place in an open ecosystem. And the journey I like to think of with the internet is in the early days of when we saw the internet coming out, institutions were interested in the technology, but they were way too conservative to actually do commerce on this public internet thing. So instead, they started using private networks. You know, Novell is a common one. Some older people might remember. So they're all using these private network protocols to talk between themselves in a safe manner. But of course, the tech boom happened, and the whole world started doing commerce on this public internet infrastructure. And of course, all the large institutions globally moved on to the public infrastructure. It was inevitable. That's where the business was. And now we're seeing exactly the same thing. So we had Bitcoin come out, certainly attracted a lot of interest. Institutions thought they liked the technology. Sounds a bit familiar to the internet situation. They created permissioned blockchains, seen as a very conservative kind of approach to using the technology, and you're still yet to see any of these projects really do anything disruptive. And I think this year actually is the year of the profit center. It's when institutions are starting to understand that blockchain is the new internet of commerce, particularly public cryptocurrency, and we're starting to see a big shift into the public space. And so the short answer, I guess, the too long didn't read, is an open market for conducting commerce.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Hugh Madden, everybody with ANX International. Thanks so much for entering.
Thanks for your time, Abigail.
Thanks,
Nice
no
to meet
problem.
you.